it is nighttime and gonna hopefully go to bed soon. I meant to do this video earlier, but it was a long, stressful day. So I don't remember if I've mentioned this before. We've started getting manure from a local dairy, and we're doing this because there's a bargain that he does where if someone sells him feed, they can take as much manure as they want. And for those of you who don't know, when you use chemical fertilizer, especially on a farm, it's thousands and thousands of dollars, like tens of thousands of dollars. I should say that, tens of thousands of dollars. And so for us to get practically free fertilizer, besides the effort to get it and the travel and stuff, that is awesome. And it's so much better for the soil to use this more organic, and when I say organic, I mean natural fertilizer that comes straight from the cow, and that's way better than any chemical fertilizer, and it will give back to the soil and help build the soil and give it way more nutrition and everything else. And so until we have so many cows that our own cows can fertilize the soil enough as they move through to different pastures, this is a really great alternative. On the downside is that in my home, we couldn't say the word butt, like meaning like our bum, but like, it's a buttload of poo. It is a lot of manure that we need to haul in. And it is my least favorite job for many reasons, and I'm not going to go into those because it's more personal stuff that, I don't know, maybe someday we'll talk about it, but it's a process, and it smells, it's a big pile of poop. This isn't a grass-fed dairy, it's a conventional dairy, and so you pull, and first off, when we first started, I pulled in this corral, and as some of you may know, and I probably talked about this, cows are very curious creatures, and they like to lick things and rub on things, and that is how my truck lost 2 lights. They've licked off 2 lights, they've broken 2 lights, and they've licked off on big semi-truck tires. On the hubs, there's a cap there that you can take off and pour oil in, and they licked off one of those caps. Had to get a new one of those. Anyway, they have caused some minor damage to my truck, and more annoying than anything, but especially some of the lights they broke off. Those are fairly expensive lights. And so Stan was able to rig up a way for me to put an electric fence around my truck. So that helped with the process a lot. But then for the second time since I've been doing this, I got majorly stuck in a corral full of poop. I was literally swimming in poop. It was terrible. I wasn't wearing my irrigation boots. I was just in my leather work boots. And so they're all covered in poo. And I came home smelling like poo. Like I went to hug David and he kind of like, ew. Oh, then Moxie was stuck in the truck forever. So I thought I'd wake up early for me and get going early. I wanted to get everything ready, and I'd be leaving about 8 o'clock so I could get to the dairy around 8:15, 8:20 to start loading. And I get there, and I have a tire that is completely flat and has unsealed, so Stan had to help me with that to get that back on and sealed. And then get up to the dairy, and there is not a loader in sight for me to use, which is nice that we get to use a loader that's already there because it's already like been used in poop and it's like available to use, which is really great. And normally they have like 3 I could choose from, but they were all in use. And so instead of, bothering the owner who's already really busy and he doesn't always know where his stuff is, which I get because it's a huge dairy. There are thousands upon thousands of cows. I want to say about 14,000. I could be wrong though. And so I'm walking around. I got my step goal today. I think I walked about 4 or 5, maybe about 5 miles today. No, because my watch also counts like while I'm driving the truck with the big steering wheel. It counts my steps. We'll say 3. We'll say 3 miles walking around trying to find a loader. So there are certain spots on the dairy where loaders are usually at, and so I was making this, walking around, check those spots, no loader. I'm getting really frustrated. I've been in a mood the last couple of days, and so I'm just not feeling very great. And Moxie is chewing on her chew toy right now, so that will be the tearing noise that you hear. So I finally text the owner of the dairy, and he gives me a number of someone else for me to call. So I get a hold of them, and fortunately, this guy is so great. He tells me that he has a loader in the shop that he wanted to work on, but if I needed it, I could use it. So I'm like, yeah, I'd love to use it today and tomorrow. So he's like, great, I'm going to grease it up for you. I'll fuel it up, and then you come get it. So I was like, yes. So I walk. I mean, this dairy is so big. And maybe if I wanted to walk through some corrals or walk through stuff, I would be able to get from point A to point B better, more like as the crow flies versus following the designated rows. But I don't walk through poop, and this isn't my place. So I try to be very respectful of boundaries. So people's houses, people's private property, I hate going on unless I'm invited. Even then, I'm going to be very like keep my hands to myself kind of person. And so I'm following the designated path around. So that's like another, maybe almost a mile. It's definitely over a half mile to get there. And so we get the loader, and I'm like, sweet. So I start loading up. And so by this point, I have already been at the dairy for at least an hour, if not a little bit more. And so I load up, and that goes really pretty well. And I was also, the ground was kind of sloppy, like it was kind of wet. And so I was Stan told me to try and clear off areas where I could, because I've been stuck there before, that if I was in a sloppy area and tried to go, because it's kind of like an uphill a bit to the gate to get out, that I would get stuck. And so I was trying to use this loader to get off the muck so I could get a dry spot. But the loader itself was just sliding. That should have been my first red flag. No, my first red flag should have been looking at the corral and being like, oh, it's a little mucky today. Second red flag was seeing the loader just sliding around. Yeah. But I found a spot, and I thought it looked good, and I even like took the loader and kind of like, tried to, and it seemed to be great. And so I was like, perfect. Loaded up. I really stacked up. I just have this trailer full of poop. I had, let's see, how much did I probably have? I probably had 50,000 pounds of poop back there. Right? Yeah. 50,000 pounds. Yeah. And I load up, and Moxie's been stuck in the truck. I know she wants to get out, but I don't want to get out in the poop. And she's scared of cows, so she doesn't want to get out either. So I guess that works. And so I start going, and my truck just slides, and it is not working out. And by this time, I've probably been at the dairy for probably pushing 4 hours, maybe. And by this point, I should have done like 2 loads. I haven't even done one. I barely filled up my truck. And so I called this guy that helped me with the loader, and he came with a truck, and he had a chain, and so he was trying to pull me out with the loader, which worked last time I got stuck. And both him and the loader, him and the truck, we're just sliding, and he actually ends up sliding into their electric fence, which wasn't too big of a deal. Their electric fences can bend and kind of work with it, and so that worked out fine. So he actually ended up having, and bless this guy, because to hook onto my onto the truck, he laid on the ground, which is kind of mucky and poopy, to put the chain on. And if I would have had to do it, I would have done it. But I was so grateful that he did it and not me. I'm so terrible. I already had poop on me, but I did not want to lay in that. And I got something in. It's just my hair. Okay, it's just light. All right. And so I'm really grateful that he was willing to do that. So I was trying to communicate with Stan, trying to make sure that we did all the right stuff. And so he went and gets a bulldozer. And finally, and I emptied my truck. So I just filled it up and then I emptied it out. Even then the loader still couldn't pull me out. And so finally, with an empty truck and trailer and the bulldozer, he was finally able to pull me out. And we actually went to a different gate, which I still couldn't have gotten out by myself. And he finally pulled me out. And oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh, it was, and just poop everywhere. Swimming in poop. So I had this brilliant idea, is like, if this is the corral and here is the gate, I ended up pulling my truck and trailer here. And so with the loader on this side and my truck here, I could open up the gates and load. So my truck was not in the corral and I just had to drive a little farther, to dump. And I was able to load, go home, and, go back to the farm, unload, and that was it. Because I couldn't got another load in before it was dark. So, what was that? When did I get? About 4-ish? Yeah, 4, 5, 6. So, about 6.5 hours to do one load. That is terrible. So, gonna try again tomorrow to get this. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna park on the outside next to the gate, so I'm close enough where I can load and cows can't get out when I leave the gate open, but I don't have to worry about getting stuck. And I should have done that from the beginning, but optimism, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe I didn't think about it till I was already in there, and once I was in, it was too late. There's no way I was getting out once I was in. So that is my story today, and maybe one day I'll look back on it and laugh. Not today, probably not tomorrow, maybe in a week. Try me back in a week. Yeah, I have this new thing, and maybe I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it tomorrow for self-care Saturday, but just helping my inner rage. If anyone is seeing anger management, where he has anger problems, but it's on the inside, that's kind of how I am. I get really angry so fast and but I keep it on the inside. My bark's worse than my bite. Even then, I don't bark that loud. And so I have this mantra of patience and charity and patience. And if anyone has seen Onward, where they're talking to the Manticore, and she's like, I used to be dangerous. And then the Manticore mascot, dangerous and wild, and she like rips the mascot's costume's head and burns it. Anyway, great movie, Onward. David was, when I was telling him about this, he was doing these like patience and charity, like in that same voice, and it was so funny because that's how I felt. Just this part of me that's trying to be a better person, just saying like patience and charity, just like the situation, like just trying to be more, give more grace about it. And then the anger side of me, it just wanted to rip it on. It was really funny. So anyway, talk more about that maybe tomorrow. And I was kind of stressed about today. But maybe tomorrow I'll try to get a little bit more footage about dumping poop, because it is kind of cool. My dad built this trailer. I think, was it my dad and Stan? Or my dad? Anyway, they designed this really cool. I really like this chain floor trailer. And so it's fun to watch. But yeah, there is my stressful story for today. And if you found it funny, Oh, the one funny part was Stan came by to just see what the situation was like and just watch me for a little bit and maybe give me some pointers or whatever. But as I went to this big mound of poop to scoop it up with the bucket, Stan got out. He was wearing irrigation boots. He was wearing good footwear. But he like went up the pile and then on his way back, he sunk in like, what would that be? Over a foot, like a foot and a half, and it almost went to his knee, like above his irrigation boots. And I thought for 2 seconds he was gonna like go over backwards into the poop. And I'm not gonna lie, I would have laughed so hard. That would have been the highlight of my, it would have been so funny. He would appreciate it, but he didn't. He didn't go backwards. He caught himself. It was fine, but oh man, that would have been funny. But anyway, I hope you have a good night. I hope you had a better day than I did. And if not, maybe we can both deep breath in, let it out. Patience and charity. Charity and patience. If that doesn't help, that's okay. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for Self-Care Saturday. And maybe I'll have some more fun poop stories. I hope not. I just want to be nice, boring, and simple right now with getting manure to better help our farm. And in better helping our farm, we also help you. So thanks, everybody. I will talk to you tomorrow. Good night. Bye.